Okay, well, your script, your rules. Um,
um,
well, let me fix my pop filter.
so
My
sorry, I think
my pop filter.
Platchums!
so. What I want to talk about today is a little bit more scientific than we're used to here
Oh,
at Platchums
science chums,
HQ.
lab chums.
I was, I had my white coat on and I was cooking up the perfect trophy list, and I was trying to think of what are the most important stats for
Oof.
because this is, it's an easy one to get lost in, and it's an easy one
There's a lot of
to
volatile chemicals in the lab in regards to
hugely,
that. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, I what I did was I wrote a script out for the most important stats, and I have six of them or five of them, depending on how you count them. I'm
See,
already doing great sciencey math stuff,
so
and
after 6 months in a lab and with $120 million budget, this is the result of science. It's like
this is
scientific fact. All right.
yeah.
There's a science to this shit. Like,
So
damn.
I was doing I recorded all the audio for this video, and then I was there and I was like looking at it and I was like, this doesn't I don't like this video at all.
So here we are
So
talking about a video that didn't get
so
made.
let's just talk about what I was thinking of saying in this video.
Okay.
Now there's been a few videos. Other people have had kind of similar videos about like what makes like someone's good account. Because like there's
Yeah.
a lot of
They're
people
like,
who
oh,
do
you want a good account? Do these
yeah,
three things.
exactly. But the funny thing is like a lot of people don't look at the same stuff that like I would look at.
They don't look deep enough.
Deep enough. Yeah, exactly. So there's layers to this, and we can go with numbers, we can go with like the difficulty of the games or whatever, but
Are you going to
there's
throw out like the maddest equation you've ever seen? You know, when you see
so
like
I
a
did
physicist on
make
the
an
board,
equation.
just
I did make an equation. I actually made a few equations.
oh,
There now. I'm not a mathematician,
just
really by any means.
nonsensical equations.
But I was trying to figure out, like, taking kind of elements of a trophy of an account and weighing them up on different criteria and things like that to get like a number. But
Mhm. The
I
platinum theory, if you will.
I'm not confident enough to share any of my equations yet.
They're going to
I
be
might get
in
them
next week's
vetted.
issue of American Scientific Journal, if anyone's interested.
I might get them vetted by someone who can do maths. um, but anyway, uh, I suppose what I wanted to talk about today then was kind of what do we think is the most important stat or the most important information at looking at someone's account? Because I suppose generally when we do like a trophy list review, we just look at the games more so than anything.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of numbers there, especially at the first
There's
glance
a
that
lot of
kind of
numbers,
help.
and I know, right? We're not the only ones. If you're on this channel, you're like us. You look at
Yes.
other people's accounts. You know, you're lying on the sofa after a hard day's work, and for some reason, you just spend a minute or two just looking up random people's accounts. There's no rhyme or reason, and you
Yeah.
like kind of absorb and try to gauge. You know, it's like, oh, they play a lot of games at 7 o'clock on a Saturday. Wonder what's going on there.
Yeah.
Or you
Um,
just like to get lost in the stats.
in the
So
stats. Yeah, exactly. So first off, the most obvious one is just the trophy count and platinum count. And you actually, when we were discussing this before, you made a great point about kind of like nearly like the ratio of different trophy types to each other. So like say golds to silvers is kind of can nearly be indicative sometimes of the kind of games that people play. Like we
yes,
see
like divided by three, kind of.
yeah, we see like a huge amount of a
This is
huge
the
amount
saddest
of
conversation, and I love it.
we see so many games nowadays with like they release with like 12 trophies, 11 golds and a platinum,
Mhm.
and then you get people who have more golds than bronze trophies and things like that, and
It's so
then
weird. It just
uh,
it's
which is
just
yeah, which is
just looks
weird, but
wrong.
but the trophy count thing is, I suppose it's kind of a problematic stat now because it's so easy to get trophies.
Mhm.
It's so easy to, buy platinums now. So, when I suppose when we were starting out back in, the prehistoric age of trophy
Back in
hunting,
the day, a trophy
back in the
list
day,
was always like 51 is the number I've seared in my head. 51 trophies. And
yeah,
normally in that list, it would be 42 to 40 bronze, 8 silver, and 2 gold, and then the plat.
yeah, that
It would
sounds
be
about right.
it would be something like that. So predominantly bronze, normally like 51 trophies. That was like I think the go-to number initially. That was like a full retail game, double A, triple A, 51 trophies. And then the
Okay.
ones with platinums would always be I think 14 trophies, no plat, and kind of a similar
Yeah.
enough mathematical breakdown, right? Of
Yeah.
those 14, it'd be like maybe 9 bronze, 4 silver, and a gold.
Yeah.
That would be the kind of the go-to, like.
Yeah, exactly. So like I suppose getting a plat was nearly like there was obviously difficult plats and easy plats back then, but the gap between what was an easy plat and what was a hard plat was much smaller than what it is now. Now we've got kind of extremes. We've got 0 to 100 when before we only had like, maybe like 3 to 10 kind of a scale.
Yeah, like people would be mocked for platting Terminator Salvation, which now,
Yeah.
in comparison, I mean, it was still a 10-hour game, 8 to 10 hours on the hardest difficulty. Now it was a shit game. Like let's like at the time, but the insults were justified, But that was
Yeah.
like if you platted that in the trophy hunting community, they'd look at you and go, "Oh, you dirtbag!" You were treated like just gunk at the bottom of a barrel. You were the lowest of the low, right? You
Yeah, it's
were a
so
sack.
true.
You
It's
were
so
a
true.
sack of shit if you planted Terminator Salvation, and your account was redundant because now there was the Hannah Montana
Yeah.
fiasco of 2009, right?
Yeah.
Now that
Hannah
might.
Montana was like the real like I collect trophies. Like
Yes,
I
that was
just
the
want
ultimate stamp.
trophies,
Yeah, so that like the original trophy hunting whore game was Hannah Montana. That was the original stamp. That was like the blueprint for the trophy hunting whore was that game. All right, now this is a history lesson, lad. So that was the game. But you see, that was a funny one because that became almost like a meme where if you had that in the game, people kind of go, oh, Hannah Montana. But for some reason, Terminator Salvation was considered like the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was
I
some
think it
sort
was
of
because it was so
disdain.
bad. Because I remember
Yeah.
we watched Ray play it or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like it didn't look that bad, but it was just extremely glitched. It was
It was
like,
glitchy. It was a movie tie-in game. And
yeah.
that of like the late 2000s. This wasn't like, Spider-Man 2 or even like Path of Neo kind of quality like movie tie-in that or Lord of the Rings Return of the King Two Towers. This was like people don't care anymore. Just like slap a
Yeah.
label on it. Like, and what was funny is it was the first game I remember in terms of trophies that had like more goals than anything else. I think it was all gold.
I
So
think you're
that's
right. Yeah, I
so
think it
I
was like
think
a
that
gold for each chapter or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that that's why it's true with such disdain. Going like, what is this like game pish posh, And it's just
Yeah.
funny how like, yeah, I just remember like people like getting like vehemently angry at people that played it.
Yeah, no, people were definitely looked down upon for that. Whereas now, like, there's more of I would say, like a tolerant community. Like, people aren't. I think it's probably because it's so widespread now. Like, the vast majority of people who would be like trophy hunters would um have say like my name is Mayo on their account now
I
as
think
like
because the dam broke. I think back then like
yeah
Sony had a bit of a vice grip on like again the fact that again like Journey and those kind of like indie games only got like 14 trophies, no platinum. There was a lot more like they tried to put value on it and tried to
yeah
like prevent kind of I guess like stat boosting up the
sure
leaderboard, but I think the dam is broken, so I think people have just like quietly accepted it. And to be honest, it's been a thing for a good few years now. Like it
Oh,
really
it's
has.
been probably 6 or 7
Yeah,
years at
six
this
six or
point.
seven
Like,
years. So almost like half the lifespan of the trophy system.
yeah,
Like
it's been like that for a
shovelware has been
while.
a thing. So like, but back in the day, like, if I don't know, it must have been like the reaction the first man
Yeah.
to wear a kilt got. Just like, what's this? Or the first man to wear a
um,
pair of jeans in a room full of people wearing kilts. It's like, what is this? Chinos, man, chinos. I guess throw it out
um,
a window.
so
But
that's the first like one anyway. So I think we can kind of say generally now, like you can have an account with 500 platinums and most of them are going to be bad. It's nearly like actually the more plats you have, probably the more likely you are to have like a lot of those type of games, a lot of those easy
mhm,
types of games. Whereas, you might have accounts with maybe 100 to a couple of hundred plats, and they might be more focused on kind of the games that they like or whatever, maybe harder games.
mhm.
So trophy count, I think we can kind of nearly discredit as a stat, I would say, because it doesn't really matter.
It,
Which
yeah.
which kind of moves on to like your rank and leaderboard stuff, which we talked about a lot in our video a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
where like the leaderboard effectively doesn't really matter, especially on PSN profiles. Um,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where I wanted to diverge a little bit from PSN profiles, because
Okay.
PSN profiles is, of course, the one that most people are going to be familiar with, and it's the biggest website,
Yeah. Yeah.
even though there's a lack of updates on the website itself. But then there's some other websites that we've touched on before, like Exophase
Mhm.
and PSNTrophyLeaders.com and TrueTrophies.com. And what the latter two do, which I think is really cool, is that they give points based on the difficulty or the rarity of a game.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
they have their own leaderboards where the rarity is heavily weighted for their different leaderboards. So we said that, say on your account, you might be like ranked number 30,000 in the world, but then when we look at rarity, you jumped up to like 2,000 in the world or something.
Yeah.
So
Something like
like
that. Yeah.
so that's really cool. I think that's cool. So like I think leaderboards can be quite cool to look at depending on the leaderboard you're looking at. Like I think
Mhm.
just like the global leaderboard on PSNP isn't important or meaningful anymore because the kind of games you need to play to climb that, and because um obviously like there's just so many people in the world that doesn't really matter,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if it's not doesn't seem very meaningful, say for us, like where we are globally, especially in comparison to those kind of games. But I think
Mhm.
definitely like if you're into like competitively kind of getting trophies, but the kind of trophies you like, I think the rarity leaderboards on PSN Trophy Leaders and True Trophies are really cool. And
It's a
they're
better reflection of like the quality and quantity. I
yeah,
think it's a good like middle ground, where yes, the quantity still counts, but like it's not as heavily weighted or not as equally weighted as say something like Red Dead 2, you know.
yeah, that's the one I always jumps into my mind. It's like my name is Mayo is worth the same as Red Dead Redemption 2. Like that
Yeah.
just is that's the thing that I always keep
It's
coming
so
back to.
wrong. It's so
It's so
wrong.
wrong. It just sounds so wrong, but
Yeah.
it's so true. Um After that, like there's a lot of other stats like trophies per day. I don't think is super important because everyone games whenever they can, I suppose, or whenever they want to.
Yeah, and I mean for
I think
accounts like us, I mean like my life like
life,
happens,
yeah,
my account is going to be 15 years old
15.
this October.
That's
Um
insane.
so that's a teenage child
That's
of
yeah,
an account, like I've almost had the account for like half my life. So
yeah,
I've gone through
yeah,
different phases. Can you imagine having an account back from the PS1 days though? I always thought how cool that would be. Imagine all like the PS1, PS2, PS3 games. So I'm kind of jealous of like anyone growing up now that have their account from when they were like 5 or 6 and they've all those childhood games like on their little, trophy
yeah, yeah.
collection. Like they'll get the whole thing. Essentially, I'm not going to be happy until I get Metal Gear Solid 1 on my trophy list. All right, that's essentially what I'm trying to say. But
I know.
there'll probably be a lot of stinkers, or my completion rate would be way low because of like renting. I guess the young
Yeah,
ones today didn't have to worry about that. Like, but
true.
I can imagine the amount of dirty Al weekend rentals, you know, like Bad Boys 2, just on the list. So at least we avoided that, I suppose. But yeah, I've pretty much forgot what I
Yeah.
was saying. Bad Boys 2 came into my head, and I'm like, oh, that was such a terrible game, such a waste of a fiver to rent that game for the weekend.
Yeah, but the movie was good, at
Oh, the
least.
movie was
Yeah.
good, but like
Yeah.
that was a movie tie-in game and a half. No, Terminator
Yeah.
Salvation got nothing on that. You know, like
No.
um,
And you mentioned their completion rate, which I think is probably like the next big one that I'd look at. Like, I think completion rate can tell a lot about the type of person. Because, we've got people who are like completionists. I would say you're definitely a completionist. I am quite the completionist, maybe not as much as you. But
you're
then we've got
quietly a completionist. I think in the last couple of
quietly.
years, like I think you were always a plat man. You
Yes.
always got the
Yeah.
plat, and you made a point of getting the plat. And I think I think towards the later days of the PS3, close to PS4, I think you went back and got like some DLC. But I think that was always my kind of wheelhouse where I just had to get the 100%. Like that was just from again back into PS1, PS2 days. That's just that's what I love doing. That was always like the challenge I set myself. But
Yeah.
like in the past like couple of years, like I think anyone above 90, above 95 is definitely like, okay, you're a completionist, and then you get into
Yeah.
like, 98, 99, or the people that actually have the 100% accounts.
Yes. Yeah.
But I would say you fall into like a soft completionist, man. Like you've worked your way up there. We're like, you had a 93% completion rate,
Yeah.
that's fairly good going. Like I have the worst curse though, because I'm a completionist that will never be able to uh fully complete the
Yeah.
list. I'll never
Curse
get
you,
the set.
FIFA.
Curse you, FIFA 10.
FIFA
Um,
10.
so I'm like Angel, I'm always I'll always live in fear of losing my soul. Like just
Yeah.
just I'll never be able to experience perfect happiness.
Perfect
Um,
happiness. Yeah.
by 100%, But yeah, like I think the completion rate is again though, like that's a tricky one. I feel like it's not as obvious as say like the golds. If someone is more gold than like silver or bronze, it's like you need not look anymore at their but the completion rate, you see, that's what's so annoying about the shovelwares, and like it kind of bleeds into that where like I've seen some accounts, I'm like, oh wow, like a 98% completion rate, but it's like it just rows of shit. And then you look at the
Yeah.
gold and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I
And
see.
And I have to say, like, I really admire accounts that have like 23% completion. And it's like you look at their account and they've got like 2 trophies in Sekiro, and then they've got like, you know, 30% of the trophies in, Dark Souls or whatever. And you just know that that person has enjoyed their time with that game and moved on, you know?
Oh, I don't know. I think my percentage completion, it's like the perfect ratio is actually like 40 to 50. I think
Yeah.
the ones that have like an average completion of like 15 or 20%, and the rakes of games they never play them, I'm like, what are you doing with your
Yeah.
money? You obviously don't like playing games, and you keep buying inordinate amounts
Keep
of
buying
games that
them.
you never play. Because like I think the main ways is to get, trophies is still like just natural progression. I think like at least 40 to 50% of the games or the trophies in a game come from just progression. I
Yeah,
think
I think
that's
that's true. Yeah.
like a rough, like
That
generally
sounds about
speaking.
right. Yeah,
Generally
yeah.
speaking, then there's the skill ones, collectible ones, difficulty based ones. But like, I'd
Most
say,
people would
yeah,
end up with 40% of the trophies just playing the
yeah,
game.
just
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
the game, right? So again, back to that classic 51 trophies, 25 for story, blah blah blah, 25 just miscellaneous, whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
So again, I think anyone that has like a really low completion rate, I'd feel like bring them into like a quiet room, sitting them down and going like, you need a new hobby. You're spending all this money on it. You're obviously not playing. But again, do what you want. But I mean,
Yeah.
just saying.
Just saying, yeah, you do need an intervention,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah. Just saying, like no judgment, but you need an intervention.
Yeah.
Um,
So
But
yeah, that's true. Yeah. So there's definitely like the two extremes. You've got people who have very low completion rate, and then you've got people who are very high. Because like, with your completion rate, there can definitely be problems as well where like you're nearly limited in games because you can't go and play a game that is like not possible,
mm,
or you might have like an alt account. Yeah.
yeah, like what's funny about mine though is like I'm kind of like the accidental completionist. Like the only game that I can recall in the past couple of years was Deus Ex Mankind Divided that
Mhm.
I really wanted to play, and I just heard like horror stories about like the servers for the breach mode. Um, so that was one game that I played on an alt. Like normally, like I got burned with UFC, but I mean, I still put like FIFA, like say the Evil Within. Like if I'm interested in a game, I'm gonna like put it on
Yeah.
anyway. Like so, I'm not too protective of what I add. I do like want to make sure that like I could get the option of a plat. But like say like Infamous Festival of Blood, I started playing it and I was like, oh shit, like there is an online trophy and it's a 12-year-old game. And apparently there was some difficulties like logging into the servers. Like recently enough, I think Sucker Punch like updated the servers or they did maintenance or whatever.
Sure.
But that was just a moment. I just fancy playing something small and kind of different and going back to PS3.
Yeah.
So like, but I know what you mean though. Like the
Like
completionist,
I
like it
would
is limited. It is
I
very
find myself sometimes avoiding certain games because I know I won't be able to get the plat, or maybe there's like just too much DLC. So like I know, like I try not to be like that, but I know it's always in the back of my mind.
it can
So I
it
need,
can creep in.
yeah,
It does creep in. Like I said, like Deus Ex was one where like I have the DLC bought and I'm kind of like going, I should just kind of play it, but like it is that fear of not being able to get the plat
yes,
that
like
is legitimately I can put my hands up and go, that is one game that like there's so much to it that I'm like that would just be annoying if I come to the breach mode and I can't get the plat. Like that is, yeah, I have to admit that one. That
yeah, and like I wouldn't like I would I want to play Crypt of the Necrodancer, but I also don't want to have it on my list at like 1%. You know,
yeah,
so there's things like
that's
that. There's
perfect for
things
the
like that.
alt. That's perfect for the alt.
Yeah, yeah. There's things like that that would, I shouldn't really care too much, but I do.
Yeah,
um,
like
and
I've played just a couple of like PS Plus games predominantly.
yeah,
Would be on the alt ones I'm like I've never heard of, and like, sure I'll give it a whirl. Say like
give
Rocket
it a
League,
whirl.
then I actually really enjoy it, and I'll throw it on my main account.
Throw it on
It's
the
kind of like
main,
my
yeah, like a
rental, my
buffer, like yeah,
yeah, like my rental account almost. Or sometimes if I want a confidence boost after getting hammered in FIFA, I'll go on my alt because I'm only in Division 10 there, and I'll just beat some noob.
nice.
um,
So yeah, yeah, no, but I completely agree. Like, so I don't think completion is like a great tell of how good an account is, which leads me on to my penultimate one, which I think personally for me is the most important stat
oh,
is average rarity. At least if we're looking at PSN profiles, average rarity to me is the one that I look at and I go, okay, cool. Like I
cool.
think, yeah, I think there could be problems with the average rarity stat. Um, so there's two things. Average rarity obviously shows the average rarity of the games that you play, or the average rarity of your trophy
hmm
a collection. So for yours, you have a really, really like impressive 38.4%. I'm at 40.55%. So I'm trying to get mine a little bit lower. Um, two problems with this stat. Number one, some great games have high rarity, and there's just no way around that.
hmm
God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Infamous, those kind of games just have high
Elden Ring.
rarity. Elden Ring, yeah, a lot of the Souls games as well. Like
hmm
they have high rarity, average rarity because they're fun. People want to play them, and people get the plats. On the flip side, sometimes some games are extremely rare because they're just shit, and it's not because it's super hard. It's just because no one wants to actually put
No one wants to
themselves
finish
through
them.
playing it.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot with like big like online only games where like only 0.5% of the people have the plat because no one wants to grind for 100 hours on this crappy game or with a dead server or whatever. So like, notwithstanding those two potential criticisms of this stat, I think holistically this important stat and the best indication of someone's quality of their account. I've seen people, fans of the channel, I say like Vigilant Crow, for example, their account is at like 27% average rarity or something.
Insane.
And then like when you look at the games, you can just see that the game quality is there too, so like, and then again on the other side of things, sometimes you see an account and you see they've got 600 platinums and then their average rarity is 60-70%
or 80. I saw like 80 and I'm like, what the?
So there you go. Like, so sometimes like to me that then is the best indication. So like, I suppose generally these days anything kind of hovering around the 50% is kind of shows that you play a bit of everything,
Yeah, I think my kind of barometer on that would be, I think anything that's like 50 or below is very good. Like I think 50. I think if you're kind of 60, 70 up, I think it's fair to say you kind of play a lot of easy to shovelware games.
Yeah,
like the stats don't lie. They don't lie.
They don't, and that's why this one to me would be the most kind of indicative of quality on the account. It definitely has some problems, and it's not the be all end all. But
none of this is the be all and end all. This is like let's just keep it simple. None of this is important.
None of this is actually important, of course. But when I look at in terms of stats, the one that I'm kind of concerned with most now personally is that average rarity, and I think that's the one that I look to now, maybe just because I'm more hyper aware of it myself. Because
like, what was yours? Like, you were normally, I think, like yours was always like sub 50 anyway, wasn't it?
I think, yeah, it was like I've never had it above 45. I think I had it at like, it was kind of hovering around 43 or 43.7, I think was maybe the highest or so. I'm sure we can do like an Internet Archive kind of
that'd be interesting. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Mine is, I think, just been steadily going up. I think the lowest I can remember it being was maybe like 36.8. I think that was like the lowest I can recall. But it's been around 37, 38, I think.
I'm searching my account on the Wayback Machine just as for interest.
So just for the progress report, we will put the progress on screen with the power of editing.
2016.
Yes, we'll go 2016. Can I try to take a guess what your average rarity was in 2016?
Yeah, so it's 40.55 now.
Okay, I would say in 2016 your average rarity was 46.
Okay, wait, let's see. Sorry, it's loading. I think I searched. It was 45.23.
Oh,
you're very close. Yeah.
Oh wait,
I didn't.
Oh, that's good. That was
very good. Yeah, that was very good. So
okay,
yeah, I didn't think I had it above. I didn't think I had it above 45. So 45.23. So I've gotten it down 5% since then, since 2016.
That's fairly serious to get it down that amount. In fairness.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It was 44.71. Sorry.
Oh.
44.71. I don't know why there's two different stats. Average rarity on the main page says 44.71, and then on the stats page, then there's like an average rarity as well, but that's 45. I don't know. But that's it's probably, you know why it's looking at two, because I'm switching between, it's looking at two different times. It's two different times. Yeah, because they've archived the page at different times. That's why. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So I have two ones, okay? one from 2013
Yeah,
and one from 2014. So do you want to guess what my average rarity was? August 2013.
2013. I'm gonna say 30 36.13.
Oh, 41.23 is actually gone down.
No way. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Well, you
might
know why that was? That was the DLC.
yeah, yeah. Well, I had 10 A games. I only had 50 completed games, 69 games played. Um, yeah, and then for 2014. Oh, this is a blast from the past. Oh my god, like the different banner covers and stuff. This is
Yeah.
amazing. So, I had 4,000 views on my page back then. What's that about?
Wow.
So, and then 2014. What do you think it was?
In 2014.
So
This
the
is
following year.
okay. I'd say you probably got it down a good bit. I'd say maybe now 39.5.
It went up. It was 43.24.
Wow. Oh God, I'm doing horrible on this.
That's the opposite, even though I'd only a 97.76% completion as well. And
Wow.
68 platinums. So this was 100 platinums ago. So I've actually brought it down a good bit in the last 100 plats.
Very much so. Yeah.
Interesting. Way back machine. My God.
Yeah, this has turned into a everybody check out their accounts on the Wayback Machine.
Yes, for
This is mad.
progress.
I'm looking at my account here from 2012 on PSN profiles, 11 years ago, and I had 46 plats.
Rookie.
That's like, yeah, it's like looking at like my rarest trophy was a Black Ops Zombies trophy. This is yeah, a long time ago.
Cool.
But yeah, sorry, to go back anyway, average rarity, in my opinion, is the most important stat.
Mhm.
But the most important thing, and just to tie this all up again, of course, is always going to be the games. So stats ultimately aren't going to matter a shit unless you've got really cool games on your account, the games that you like to play. You know, not necessarily the games don't have to be good to everyone because everyone has their own, you
Mhm.
know, their own likes and dislikes and things like that. Um, like some people like Ghost of Tsushima, and that's
Ooh.
fine.
Oh.
No, I really like Ghost of Tsushima. I'm only messing.
Doesn't sound like it.
But you know, like that's the most important thing always. It's going to be the games that are on the account, and stats can lie sometimes. You know,
Mhm.
we're not statisticians here. We're not economists. We're gamers.
We're just two guys. And that's the title of our first book out in all terrible bookstores from next week on.
Yeah.
Just we're gamers, and then like back to back, you know, in really dodgily fitted suits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like all this is just good fun, but I mean
it is
it
just fun.
isn't at the same time. No,
No,
no, you can derive a lot from just like the stats. I do think average rarity is kind of the one that I think has the most weight to it. It's still not the whole picture, but
sure.
I think ultimately it's just the games themselves. And like, look, if you want to get 800 stacks of I'm a sous chef or whatever kind of games exist out there, or
Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay simulator, um like cool, like it's good. But if we're talking hardcore, like okay, like take this seriously, it's a real leaderboard of like, oh, like, you know, people going hard, going ham against each other to be top of the leaderboard. You know, there are like a few stats that, you know, you can almost just go like, nah, like your account ain't worth nothing, and then just slap them and run away. Yeah, for me, the only thing that I will kind of put my foot down on is just if you have more gold than bronze, like, well, you know, what are you doing? Like, you
What
know,
yeah.
what
Like
are you at, man? No, like, No, like again, everyone's kind of their own. I ultimately don't really care that much, but it is an interesting little, scientific experiment behind, we'll break down trophies and break them down to like their molecular scientific level.
Sure.
Um and just shit on Terminator Salvation. 14 years after was a topic, like
I
must be the
know.
only two people talk about Terminator Salvation in 2023.
I think we're possibly the first people who've said those words in a sentence. Terminator Salvation.
Yeah, if you look back in the Wayback Machine, there'll be nothing for years. Then just suddenly, like 2023, a mention of Terminator Salvation. It just pops back up in the way back machine. We'll get it
Yeah.
trending, like justice for Terminator Salvation.
Yeah. It's not that bad.
Yeah, bring back the old school shovelware,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. In terms of I thank you for your service to the scientific field, Dan. It's much
Yeah.
appreciated.
I had something to say anyway.
Yeah, it was something. It
I
was
just had to
something
say
to
it.
say. And,
Yeah.
and you said it, and now we've said it, and it's said. That's all that has to be said. I
Said.
guess. Yeah, but whatever. But like, if we have like a thumbnail, right, and like I'm all like, this is what is like a good list, and I'm all like, and then you're on like the other end going all that.
Yeah. Exactly.